So let's talk storyline now. I'm on the side of the road, so up in Vaucluse in Sydney, so it's a bit noisy here. But so the basic storyline of this character is, well, I don't really know, to be honest with you. I want him to have. Well, I thought they could have like a fighting background, have a bunch of mates that they could sort of do stuff with, and then when this person sort of changes and then disappears and all that sort of stuff, when they die and all that crap goes on, I thought that they could be like a pit fight happening, and then somebody could throw a punch and he could like stop it with his hand, but you can't see them. But then the person in the fighting, they don't get hit and then they win the fight. So it's like they're still protecting their mates even when they're not sort of there to physically help them in the one spot. So I thought that could be a good thing, but the problem is I do a lot of action movies, so that's why I always tag martial arts and action and all that sort of stuff, because that's my background in stunt work and films and things. So, but it's really hard to get away from movie cliches when it comes to action roles and movie roles. So I'm finding it kind of would like to create a different kind of action movie, a different kind of film. But I just don't know how to go about that, and I never know what sort of angle to do on these sort of cameras either. So I'm really torn at the moment with how I should play that out and how it should, like what the basic storyline should be. Whether it's just a normal person who does a little bit of training, because I have a gym and all those sort of things, so we have access to all that. So it's always good to use locations that are free. It always helps the production value. So the more mates you got with businesses as you get older and stuff like that, I think the easier filmmaking can become, because you just shoot at your mate's place and shoot it when it's convenient for them. When you're sort of younger, you've gotta do the negotiation thing a lot more. And then when you've got bigger money and playing bigger budgets, it doesn't really matter. You just give them whatever money they want. You sign a location agreement, you're all good to go. But yeah, so either this person trains martial arts and sort of has those sort of abilities and skills, so that when they have to fight the other henchmen, they have their skills already. It's either that, or like, why can they suddenly do things, like do they get embalmed with these kind of skill set that they didn't have before, and that now they kind of have them. I don't like that. I think that's kind of a bit cheesy. Suddenly you have them. I think that's where Matrix did good, because they had to upload the training into his brain, and it kind of made sense in that world. So I don't know if this person is actually a fighter, or maybe they compete a little bit or something like that, but definitely it would be good to have them fighting in that sort of environment. So the basic storyline is they, just maybe they're a little bit of a mess up in life, and they're trying to get things happening. They have a caring kind of job role, so we have that compassionate side of them. They have the friend, so it's either, if it's a girl as a lead character, maybe she gives birth and then the child gets raised by the guy who's left. If the main character is a guy, then the reverse of that. Then they don't have to be there. Then they could, I think the good thing about that is then you can have them watch the birth. They could see the birth happening. Maybe they could even meet their child in like some weird. Oh yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Like they could be like, before the child is even born, or when the child's in the womb, maybe they could meet this kid on like some sort of spiritual kind of plane thing, and talk to them, and of course the kid won't know it when they grow up in life, but you could have this little interaction of them as an adult, and then you could have that character play back as an adult later on. Then you could have this little internal loop thing going on within the movie. That could be kind of cool, actually. I don't think I've seen that before. We might do that, actually. Yeah, and then then the plot then. So you've got a love story plot. You've got a connection to friends and family plot. You've got a child, watching them grow up and then guiding them quietly. What I mean, like a guardian angel. Maybe that's what guardian angels are. Maybe it's these kind of characters who look after people a little bit as well. I don't know. That's probably a bit much. Yeah, so that could be a cool thing. And then the main plot is the plot of death, having a hitman that went awry, and then this guy or girl has to sort out this hitman and then become Death's hitman, and then, you know, I guess that would be kind of close to the end of the movie. Then that would sort of all wrap it all up. So you kind of want to have some main plots going on and some character development and all that, but you don't want to have too much going on, and I think everything that's sort of going on has to be kind of complementary as well. So I think that could kind of work. So let me know. You know, like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to get it up to the point where I can get this monetized, because like I said, if I can get it monetized, then I can use that money to make this movie. Depending on how much money comes in, depends on how big of the budget it is, really. If we make millions and millions, then maybe we can do something like create like a little film budget for other people to use as well, and help you guys make your movies, which, you know, that would be a great little legacy. I've always wanted to do things like that. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Oh, tickle in my throat, just ate something before. Alright, see you later, have fun.